Yo, what is good, everybody? It's your boy Golden Falls, Golden What If, whatever you want to call me, and I'm back with part 4 of What If Deku Had an Artist Quirk. I'm sorry for how long it's taking me to get these videos out now. I've been really preoccupied, and some things kind of came up, and then I kind of got sick. I had some allergies, so it was extremely difficult to even record a video. So I've just been dealing with a lot of stuff, but we are here, and I'm gonna try my best to get these videos out to y'all. And as long as I'm feeling good, I want to get these videos. And this is the first time I felt like I didn't have allergies. I wasn't sneezing like crazy. So I was like, you know what? I need to get on. Let me record a video. And so, yeah, I'm here. And this might either come out really late tonight or it's going to come out the next day. You'll know by when this was released. But that's all I really got to say. With that said, I'm not going to waste that much more of your time. And let's get into the what if. Let's get it. Izuku Midoriya has a choice between a variety of agencies, and Aizawa is able to deliver these choices in the next class period. When they begin speaking and he begins looking at all of his choices, he thinks about what he should do. His quirk is super unique and beyond unique that you would possibly even imagine. Not many people would even be able to really help him. Let's be honest, let's be front about it. Not many people are going to have a quirk like Izuku's, so what is he supposed to do? Where is he supposed to go? So he decides something. There's one thing that's always good in hero society, and that's being able to defend yourself, especially without your quirk. So he decides that he's gonna go and head off to, well, Miriko's agency. Miriko actually sends him an invitation because she feels that he does need exactly that, a hand-to-hand combat skills, so he doesn't have to fully utilize his quirk. On top of that, if he learns how to create a suit of armor that is extremely durable and also able to allow him to use his agility, it could be extremely beneficial for Izuku. So he heads over to Miriko's agency. Without much time wasted, Miriko immediately throws him more or less into the fire, telling him that he needs to learn how to defend himself as soon as possible. So she throws his notebook away and tells him that they're going to start sparring right away. And let's be honest, for the vast majority of the time, Izuku's just getting his ass beat, like bad. Like Izuku's just getting beat every single time, but he is learning more and more as they go along. Eventually, after about 3 days, he's allowed to make a suit of armor via his notebook. As he begins to create this suit of armor, and it's more of an agile version of it, using inspiration from Miriko and making sure that he can move really well in it and maybe even advance his movement. He decides to use it, creating this and making it a permanent stay as long as it doesn't completely break and need repairs. He decides to start using it in their sparring. During their sparring, he sees extreme amounts of progression. Nothing like he's keeping up with her, but he's able to at least dodge some attacks and not get hit as much, which is hands down definitely a plus. Izuku, though, really needs to do a lot more than just that. Learning the martial arts and the fight style of Miriko is going to be beneficial in the near future when he starts fighting stronger villains and stuff like that. And the suit of armor he's made is more or less tinkered to support him in the fight style and also durable enough to take Miriko's blows. On top of that, though, Izuku seems to be running out of time, with being only allowed about a week in the whole internship. It actually ends up getting cut short when something very disturbing comes up. A phone call comes from UA, and it's Aizawa telling Miriko to send Izuku back. Of course, Izuku just doesn't even think much about it, but gets sent back and then learns about something terrifying. Learns about Stain, the hero killer, has ended the life of Tenya Ida. With Izuku not going, obviously, anywhere near Hosu City, this would obviously happen. Everyone in Class 1A and UA entirely would be in a horrible mood, would be mournful. They'd be so sad about the death of Tenya Ida. That's a classmate. Just like that, it happened. Aizawa would tell them that he's seen this happen countless of times, that this is what hero work is. You sacrifice your life in the line of battle all the time, and this is what happens. Sometimes the good person doesn't make it out. He makes it abundantly clear that luckily enough, this person that killed him, the hero killer, was fortunately captured. Endeavor was on the scene and many others were as well, but it doesn't excuse what occurred. Tenya Ida put himself in a bad position, put himself in a position to get killed, and that is what happens. When you go out for vengeance, you go out for revenge, this is what could occur. And they're all shocked to hear that Tenya went out for revenge, but some of his closest friends realized that that was definitely the case. He wouldn't have went out any other reason. Izuku clenches his fist slightly and realizes the risks of all of this happening. He wants to get stronger. He wants to make sure that he can protect as many people as possible. And that so-called suit of armor and his learning of martial arts is just one hurdle to get to that, to get to protecting as many people as possible. Izuku would then listen to Aizawa. Aizawa would say that there is no breaks and that he hopes that they learn from this, that they really truly can excel at being heroes because of this. Using this, everybody is more, I wouldn't say enthusiastic, but is more determined. Izuku would listen to Aizawa as he tells them exactly what's going to happen. They have a bit of a final exam coming up, and first it will be a written and then it will be a practical exam that Izuku expects to be something slightly different than robots, in which he would learn later on that it wasn't just slightly different, it was a good bit different. After the written portion of the final exam, Izuku would arrive at a gym with all of his classmates with a ton of teachers waiting. Assumptions can be made, and the assumptions were correct, that the teachers were going to be their challenge. Izuku would listen to everybody and who goes up next, until he begins to ask them why him and Bakugo were not called yet when there's no teachers left. And just as he says this, the last teacher comes crashing to the ground. It's All Might. All Might is going to be their challenge. Izuku is shocked but smirks at the challenge, and Bakugo tells him to stay out of his way. Izuku tells him that they're not going to be able to beat All Might head on, especially not one-on-one, maybe not even two-on-one. But still, he has an idea that might be able to get them to have a set advantage. He begins explaining to Bakugo while they're watching all of these fights go on, but Bakugo says that he doesn't want to win via cheap tricks, but Izuku makes it clear that this is his quirk. He's not using some cheap trick. This is his quirk, and a utilization of it is important, and especially if they can gain an advantage. Bakugo is slightly convinced, but still is frustrated that they have to go to measures that will be different. Of course, we don't know exactly what is being said, but what is being said is that Izuku is going to change the environment to benefit them. Izuku and Bakugo wait for their turn, and when it's their turn to face down All Might, it feels like you can hear a pin drop from anywhere. The gates would swing open and you can hear the creaks come out of the gates. That's how silent and focused they are. They go charging forward, and Izuku whips out his notebook, and as he does, he begins to sketch right in front of him. A layer of seemingly air appears in front of Izuku, but that's not exactly what it is. They go charging forward, and All Might sees this and blasts toward it. But when he does a shockwave toward it, he blasts the paper open, and there's nothing behind it. He thought that was Izuku and Bakugo, but it wasn't. Bakugo comes swinging in, but he looks different. He's actually wearing a hybrid suit of armor that enhances his quirk, something that Izuku has been tinkering with throughout this entire time that they've been waiting. He blasts All Might in the face, but just as he does, it might hurt All Might a good bit, but the suit shatters to pieces. Izuku knew that it wouldn't hold up. He would hope that it would hold up a little bit longer than just one giant blast, but so be it. Bakugo's quirk is strong, and frankly, he needs more time than just a couple minutes, or at least 30 minutes, to perfect that type of, quirk stabilization. Izuku would be sketching while Bakugo fights All Might alone, but he would add support here and there using animals from different alleyways that would distract All Might and give Bakugo time to recover and re-situate himself. But just as a signal would come, a hawk would come barreling down toward Bakugo, grabbing him up and swiftly moving him away. Bakugo knows this as the signal, and he stands his ground and holds out his gauntlet ready for one giant blast. As he does this, All Might's confused as he looks around, and the surrounding area of him becomes cloudy and misty. It seems like everything around him and in the air, it's thicker. It's as if he's trying to breathe in, but he can't. Izuku has made a good bit of the surrounding exactly into what Bakugo sweats. The nitroglycerin begins to surround All Might and surround him entirely. It's odd. It's as if it's this big fog machine or this thick fog that surrounds him. All Might tries to punch his way out to just clear the air, but it's as if it's concealed in one area. And that's exactly what it is. It's as if it's some containment chamber. And before All Might could even figure that out, one of the grenade gauntlet bracers that Bakugo has gets chucked into the chamber. And in a matter of seconds, it's filled with smoke and explosions. A giant explosion erupts within the chamber, concealed within it, but it begins to crack and disperse. But as the smoke clears, All Might is on the ground, not able to move, but his fingers begin to twitch as he slowly but surely stands up. But by that time, Bakugo and Izuku are already gone, and already out and escaped. They knew that most likely would not kill All Might. All Might has taken far worse beatings. But still, it was something that would give them enough time to escape, and on top of that, give them the satisfaction of knowing that they were able to somewhat put All Might down. They're deemed the winners and are told that they would be allowed to go to the Forest training camp, but of course that doesn't necessarily matter because they all end up going anyways. But at the end of the day, All Might comes over to them, congratulating them on the win, saying that that was one hell of a strategy utilizing both of their quirks to the most extent possible. Especially Izuku and Bakugo's combined might be one of the strongest combos he's ever seen. But of course, Bakugo denies this, saying that if without his quirk, it would have been absolutely nothing. Izuku laughs at this and says that he could say quite the same thing, but Bakugo just scoffs as he leaves. The next day, they would all head off to the Forest training camp. This training camp would allow Izuku to expand more and more on his quirk, gaining more and more strength, but in a particular instance, Aizawa has a special little thing he wants him to do. He tells Izuku that he'll be going with Class 1B. Izuku asks why, but Aizawa refuses to really answer the question, just explaining that he has a different plan for Izuku, that he may be one hell of an actual hero or coming up to be a potential pro hero, but the support aspect of him is something they need to think about. They need to get him to the Forest training camp as soon as possible. But Izuku's confused. What do they have waiting for him? And on top of that, why wouldn't he just go with his class? But Aizawa says that there's nothing to worry about. That his class 1A, will be doing a little bit more physical training before they get to the Forest training camp. Izuku doesn't think much more about what Aizawa is telling him, and he heads off with the Class 1B bus. He's told by Vlad King while sitting there and waiting for the bus to arrive at the training camp that they have a bit of a lab over at the training camp, that he'll be in there working on some schematics that they have. It's important, especially important for the support course and other pro heroes. Of course, he's definitely going to get something out of this, not only training, but also a little reward at the end of it. Izuku says that's not why he does it, but he'll take what he can get. He hears more and more about what's going on, and he gets a little bit of a visualization of what the schematics are about. When Class 1B passes Class 1A, they all see them get pushed off of a mountain, which surprises Izuku extensively. When they arrive at the training camp, he begins working on some of these so-called schematics. He's not actually or he's not really there to talk to many people. He heads into the lab, and some of the wild pussycats do check in on him, but that's about it. He begins to work on certain things that Aizawa wants him to work on, certain support course items, and also certain items that heroes really need. They've seen his suits of armor and believe that that could be the next generation and the next step into protecting the people of, well, everyone. The people of Japan, people of Earth in general. So he begins to work on some of these schematics. Some schematics were based on Mei Hatsume's past research, and some of them were even drawn up by her. He begins to sketch them out and get some prototypes of basically armors that would support specific heroes. Heroes like Vlad King, heroes like Aizawa, All Might, Endeavor, Hawks, Mirko, many others as you speak of. They're all going to have a specific type of armor, and Izuku is working on this. Everything will actually support their quirks. Of course, All Might has one of the most unknown quirks, something that most likely would shatter armor instantaneously if they're not careful, but it's something that would even ramp up his quirk, whatever it is, quote unquote, compared to everyone else, because everyone, or most people, don't understand his quirk or don't know it, and it will ramp up his quirk to even higher levels. But this power needs to be isolated. He needs to make sure that it's all on his own. Izuku begins creating and even tinkering here and there with what he believes to be the best. Izuku, on top of that, works on some of his own things, his own equipment, and on top of that, some other equipment that he would work with other people. Even some of these suits of armor, quote unquote, they would be, are for his classmates. It's like Aizawa realized that the combination of both Bakugo and Izuku was something special. And if he really cultivated this in every regard, being that of other heroes in training, it might ramp up their training not only tenfold, but on top of that, allow heroes to expand their arsenals even more. With these suits and with these powerful sets of armors being created for heroes, and on top of that, heroes in training, what and who are going to be the test subjects for Izuku? Who is getting the armor that Izuku is currently making? Of course, Katsuki Bakugo would be one of the best choices for this. They've seen how special it could truly be when combining Izuku's quirk with Bakugo's quirk. But who else would be extremely who would benefit the most out of these suits of armor? This specialization that would increase their quirks by 2 to 3 to 4 to maybe even 10 times the amount regulated. Well, you'll have to find out next time on part 5 of What If Deku Had an Artist Quirk, and what will happen in the next parts. Well, maybe these suits of armor will truly have a stress test when the villains come knocking. And that is a wrap. That is a wrap for this, obviously, part. Like I said, if you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, make sure to leave a sub, make sure to leave a comment down below. Sorry that it took so long. It literally took me 4 days to get this out. Like I said in the very beginning of the video, it was either coming out really late tonight or the next day, which this is literally the next day. My allergies went crazy again, so I had to like stop recording that late last night. Unfortunately, it just happens sometimes, and it's just that time of the year, frankly. And all good though, we're here, and I'm still gonna be pumping videos, so I'm working on it, and I'll try my best to do every other day and not do this again. That was just bad, but nonetheless, I hope y'all enjoyed, and I hope all y'all have an amazing day. Later.